In learning objective C, we're going to solve and compound inequalities. And this is an example of what one looks like. And all it is it's really two problems in one. So if you imagine that I cover up this side and this side's not even here, what you're going to see is just this basic inequality. That would be the first one. Then imagine that I cover up this side and it's not even here. So really what you're going to see is the second inequality. So when you have a compound inequality, all you do is you really do two problems at the same time. So if you just look at this middle part, you have to clear it out so it's just x by itself. So just like a normal equation, what you would do to get x by itself is first you'd move the 2 and then you'd move the 5. So we need to move the minus 2 by adding 2. So I'm going to add 2 there. And if it was an inequality with just the 8, I would add a 2 here. But if it was an inequality with just the negative 7, I would add the 2 over here. So you really just do, again, two problems at once. That leaves us with negative 5 less than 5x, which is less than or equal to 10. Now we're going to continue to get x by itself, so we need to get rid of the multiplied by 5, so the inverse of that is divide. And we do that to both the right and left hand side. Negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1, which is less than x, which is less than or equal to 10 divided by 5 is 2. So just like before, we're going to go to the number negative 1 and the number 2, and we're going to put either an open circle or solid. Notice with the negative 1, it is just less than, so we're going to do an open circle there. For 2, it's less than or equal to, so here I do a solid circle. And the answers are everything that's in between negative 1 and 2. So you really just read this kind of left to right. I want all the numbers between negative 1 and 2. So on the number line, everything in between negative 1 and positive 2 is right here. So that means if we were to put, for example, x of 0 back into this inequality, what we would get is negative 7 is less than 5 times 0 is 0 minus 2. I would put negative 2, which is less than or equal to 8. Is this a true statement? Is negative 2 greater than negative 7? Is negative 2 less than or equal to 8? Yes, they're both true. So for this inequality, I could put 0 as an answer, 1 as an answer, 2 as an answer, for example. Here's another example of a compound inequality, which is an and one. And when we graph this one on a number line, it's going to look like a continuous line. So again, to get x by itself, we first get rid of the plus 5, so minus 5 to both the right and left hand side. So we have negative 8 less than 4x, which is going to be less than 16. If we divide now everything by the 4, we're going to get negative 2 is less than x, which is less than 4. So because of these inequalities, both are open circles, one at negative 2, one at 4. And notice if you look at this, the x is in between these two numbers, and everything in between negative 2 and 4, what's in between are all of those values. So anything that's on that line will actually make this statement true above here. So again, if I chose, for example, if x was 2, if I put a 2 in here for x, this statement would end up being true.